What is up, my lovely people in TheBlueTablet land? So for today's video, guys, I'm going to be drawing your Pennywise, the creepy clown from the sewers. If that's something you guys are interested in, stick around and let's get started. So I'm going to first start out by drawing his eyes. And I think for any character, especially when it comes to Halloween characters, I think their eyes are by far the creepiest things you can draw. Because the eyes have got so much emotion, so much terror, so much sadness, maybe some excitement, maybe the creepiness. But in his, it's just all creepiness and that good old smile that he has with all those janky looking teeth. Gosh, I think, when I think back on the first one that I watched, I think it was the older one, and I'm trying to remember when it had come out, and I'd actually gone to the video rental store, and I kind of just asked him, I said, hey man, do you guys have any horror movies? So he kind of looked it up and he's like, have you watched It? And I was like, what kind of a movie name is It? And he was like, I don't know, it looks horror. He's like, it's about a clown. And my first impressions were like, I don't want to watch a movie about a damn clown. But boy, when I watched the movie, well, actually I kind of was with my mom when we went to the video rental store, now that I think about it. And my mom was like, are you sure you want to watch this movie? Because it says parental discretion. And in my mind, I was like, you're going to be there, right? So yeah, so we got the movie. And it started out okay, I guess. And I'm talking about the older one where you have the starting scene where this little girl is riding her little tricycle. And then her mom calls her in and says, hey, come on in, it's starting to rain. And the next thing you know, this girl comes back home and then she hears these creepy little smiles and laughter, but she can't really see what's going on. And then she suddenly sees the clown, and then before you know it, it's like, boom, she's gone. When I seen that part of the movie, I was like, man, maybe this is a creepy movie. But yeah, I think when it comes to clowns, I think my idea of a clown was always something that I would see in the circus and maybe for birthday parties and all that. But after watching the It movies, my ideas of clowns totally changed. And then I think I remember seeing the movies on, Killer Clowns. And I'm like, man, these are some mean looking clowns and creepy looking. But I think that's what Halloween is all about, and making these creepy, gruesome looking creatures. And I've always enjoyed that about Halloween and anything to deal with horror and gore and all that kind of stuff. So coming back to what I was saying about watching It, I remember some really good, distinct scenes in the movie that are still stuck with me. And I think one of them is the part where, Richie, I think is the boy that has the asthma. And he kind of goes into the boys' locker room to have a shower. And then all of a sudden, as he's having a shower, the pressure of the shower kind of increases. And they all start coming out of the wall. And he's like, oh my gosh, it's like, what is going on, And then he says, or he hears, he's like, hello, Richie. And I think when we heard that and we were watching the movie, we were like, oh man, look at that. The clouds coming out of the ground. And the part where he physically pushes open the ground. And he just kind of pops out and just starts talking to him. I think that by far was one of the creepiest part of the movies. So the boy's name was actually Eddie Katzbrack. is the character that I was actually talking about, what I meant when I was talking about it. And I think I've said talking way too many times. Richie is another character. But anyway, after the scene was done and the movie progressed, I kind of asked my mom, I said, do I have to pay attention to the drain or the shower area when I'm having a shower? And my mom was like, well, I think you better if you don't do your homework, whatever. And I was like, my gosh, I was like, I hope Pennywise doesn't come from the drain, you know? And I was like, I mean, now that I think about it, I mean, like back then, it was like, Pennywise was by far the most scariest looking movie for the time that I'd ever watched. And, there are so many movies when it comes, I guess, to Halloween that have got these bone chilling and mesmerizing feel, or leaves a mesmerizing feel to you when you've actually watched these movies. But yeah, I think all that goes into making these movies, and the character, and coming to the character design, and how the story actually unfolds is unique when you think about movies. So anyway, so as I was saying, is when I was watching this movie, I think the other scene that I kind of also liked was the scene where I think the boy's name is Ben, and he kind of has a argument or fight with his mom about staying with his dad's family. So he kind of gets on his bike and he just kind of takes off. And then when he goes to this area where it's kind of like a swamp area, he suddenly sees an image or reflection of his dad, and he's like, wait a minute. I was like, I mean, that's at least what I think he's saying. How is that possible that my dad is alive and he's standing on the water? And I think in a few minutes, or after a little while, I guess, of talking to the character, he realizes that it's actually the clown. And then all of a sudden you see this creepy looking skeleton that kind of comes out of the water, almost trying to grab his legs. So that, I think that part was a cool part in the movie too as well. So as I continue to do the line art for the clown, I don't know, at this point I kind of just realized, I mean, this character almost looks like Chucky, because of how the head is shaped. And just a spoiler alert, that's something I'm going to be drawing for you guys. I'm not going to tell you all when, but just thought I'd let you know. And I don't know why, but I think drawing these characters is really a fun thing, because you get to experiment with all kinds of drawing emotions, drawing characters of different types, and it's not just one thing. So I think that's definitely what I'm enjoying a lot about doing this series, and I'm kind of really excited that I actually decided to do it. Now the key point is sticking to it and getting through the actual 31 days of drawing. As I said earlier, I think I should have probably planned for this and probably started drawing maybe somewhere in August, I think. So that way it wouldn't be too much of a rush. Because now what's happening is I draw the video that I'm going to be posting a day from now, the day before. So that way when that one goes live, I'm already working on the next one for the next day. I don't know if that made any sense, but that's my process right now. And I chose the studio pen to do this illustration because I like how the look and feel is, where you can start with your thin lines and then you just gotta push it down to get your thicker lines. What's cool about it is you don't really have to go back in and do a detail layer on a separate layer. You can just do it as is and while you're drawing. So sometimes what I do is I'll draw a regular line art, and then I'll just go back in and do the thicker lines and the thinner lines and give it some detail. But since these are just quick tutorial videos and kind of just showing you quick ways to draw different characters and different props when it comes to Halloween, I figured I won't go that much in detail, and just have fun with this, and hopefully you guys have fun along and are able to share it with your friends, maybe your family members, and maybe the whole family kind of draws along. That would be nice. So for all the It fans and the die-hard Killer Clown fans and anything clown related, you'll probably figured out that I chose to draw It from chapter 1. And I think when I was deciding which clown I wanted to draw, this one seemed like the obvious choice because of the colors. And the first older one, which had Mr. Tim Curry as the clown, his character kind of had way too much color. Had like the yellow baggy looking pants, then it had like this bluish whitish almost kind of shirt that he was wearing, and then he had those orange pom-poms. So I figured this one would make it easier to do a tutorial video, because the use of color for his costume for the actual character is minimalistic, where it's just a use of red for the hair and the pom-poms, and then some sort of grayish off-white for the actual bodysuit. I actually did want to draw the entire clown and kind of have him standing and holding the red balloon, which is kind of like the signature prop in the first movie, and I believe it's also part of the props in the first chapter and then the second chapter movie. But then I was like looking at the time and I was like, man, the video is already up to like almost 12 minutes and some change. So I was like, yep, it's just gonna be 3/4 of a body. So at this point I kind of made the decision to cut him in half and make just that part of his body visible, and then the rest of it kind of almost looks like he's standing in the swamp or maybe looking out of the sewer. And I think for a tutorial video, I think it's more than enough. But coming to the color part now, I kind of looked on Google to see the different variations of how their characters been illustrated, and then after looking extensively for quite a while, because I kind of wanted to make sure it really pops, I selected these color swatches, which is off-white looking color for his face, and then almost like this fiery looking orange for his hair, and what else? And I believe for his little it's not really a collar, but it's more like a frilly kind of almost looks like a frock that a girl would be wearing. I chose this almost like a grayish creamish color. I know it looks a little bit yellow on the screen right now, but that's the thing when you're recording with the phone. It's always a challenge in the aspect of looking at the color and then looking at it on your phone, because what I actually see on the screen is totally different from what I see on the phone after it's recorded and I'm editing it. Because the color is more like of a beigeish gray, and then it kind of looks a little bit tweaked, and I think that's because of the RGB color spectrum. So the eyes, which have this red kind of a scratch or a tattoo looking thing, originally it had another shade of red that I'd selected, and then I chose this one because it kind of had that more gory, like a blood look to it. So I think that worked well over here. And for his eyes, I think the original character's eyes are brown, I think. So I just chose one of the colors that I would be using for the shadow to do his eyes. But I think the coloring part is definitely the fun part in any of these tutorials, because it really ties in and brings the actual character to life, because if you choose some colors that don't really go well together, I mean, like, it doesn't matter how cool your character looks, the color choice, if it's not accurate to the actual character, makes it kind of flop, I think, personally. So this is why I kind of wanted to make sure that I got as close as possible to the actual character. Now for the shading, what I did is, instead of using the opacity or take down the opacity for the line art layer, what I did was I manually selected the colors, and then I just used a clipping mask to apply it, so that way it didn't kind of go all over the place, and the shading kind of just stuck with the actual color I was using. So far I think it looks nice. You can't really tell that much of a difference, but I guess if you were to do two separate illustrations and keep them side by side, there might be a slight difference if you were going for that look. But the shading also, I think, definitely is fun, because it kind of brings this extra kind of electricity, if you want to call it, to the character. And playing around with color is always fun. And not just, I mean, I guess in digitally, when you're coloring digitally, it's more fun because you can actually mix so many colors, and if something doesn't look nice, I mean, you can just delete the layer and start over fresh. And yeah. I'd actually thought of doing a skeleton version of Pennywise for my other channel, just as a fun drawing challenge. And I don't know, I'm thinking maybe it might come out cool, thinking of what Pennywise would look like in a skeleton character and not the actual clown. Those are just some thoughts that were just rolling around in my mind while I was doing this illustration for you guys. So yeah, and then you can see how I was able to just take off the shading if it goes past the point of what I wanted. And yeah, this what was I gonna say, the hair kind of almost looks like a flower. Looks like petals, I think. But I was actually trying to get it where it was actually like a wavy look, but then I was like, if I did that, the shading would have to be a little bit more intricate. So I was like, let me just stick with this and see how it turns out. I think the biggest obstacle about making these tutorial videos is I constantly have to remind myself to not get carried away. And what I mean by that is not get the shading and any special effects or lighting or the whole rendering the character all the way to a 100%, because I gotta keep in mind that the camera is rolling, and I don't want the video to end up being like a 3-hour long video, which would be the actual time it would actually take to actually shade the character properly and make it look its best. And I think when I'm making the video, I'm like, that's always at the back of my mind. And what I do is I try my best to get the shading close enough to where it's teachable for the viewer, and they understand what's going on and what I'm doing. But I always have the habit of, once I'm done recording, is I kind of go back to the illustration and I fix this and I change that, and it's just that nature of constantly wanting to make every illustration better than the one that you just did. So that's a challenge that I always face, or it's like a battle that I always work at against myself, to keep reminding myself, like, this is just a tutorial. I mean, you're here to teach people how to draw, and you're gonna teach them something that but just don't get carried away and then keep them thinking that this is gonna be a movie that they're coming here to watch. But yeah, just wanted to say that and get that out of the way. But It's amazing when you're shading and like you're actually coloring something, and the amount of color that you can add to a specific illustration is just mind-blowing in the aspect, like as I was talking about in my previous video. There is this channel that I follow on Instagram by the name called Drawholic, and this is a Korean artist, and the skill that this guy has is just unbelievable. I mean, like, everything that he draws looks so realistic, and I think most of his illustrations are usually done with pencil. I think some pigment marker, I think, and maybe some paints. But it's just cool to see how many levels of talent are out there, when it comes to art. I mean, like, you have artists that are extremely good at drawing cartoon characters, and then you have some artists that are extremely good at drawing landscapes, and I mean, like, the list just goes on and on. But for me, what I try to do is I always look at artists that inspire me and look at what is it that they do and see how I can do my very own version of it. And what I mean by that is, like, trying different skills or techniques that they show or display or do a tutorial of. And it's constantly a learning game. Don't ever be in the mindset that I've learned everything that I need to learn, because I mean, when you get to that point, I mean, in anything, it just becomes, what is it, like a battle that you fight against yourself. And like, with anything you do in life, I mean, it's always about constantly improving and making sure that you're constantly working to make the next thing better than the one you just did. And that's what I always try to do. And I also, as I said, I always got to remind myself, in this channel I'm trying to teach people. I mean, I've got like a different list of video ideas to draw, and I don't know, after this series is done, I'm gonna have to re-look at that list and see if there's something more that I can add to it. Like, maybe just simple things of how to draw shadows, or what else? I mean, the list is endless. I mean, there's only so many hours in a day that you can get all this done. So hopefully, at the end of all of this, you guys have a fun time following along. I mean, that's really what I'm hoping for, and y'all enjoy drawing along, because I, for one, really enjoy all of this. And sometimes I really wish, if there was nothing like sleep there, I think I probably would be drawing 24/7. I know that's unrealistic, but that's just how I feel when I'm drawing. Like, I mean, I can just go on for hours and hours and just keep drawing. And I remember when I was back in university, sometimes when I lived with my roommate, he would come and knock on the door, and he's like, you gonna have lunch? And I'm like, no, I'll be down a little bit. And then like a little bit later, he'd be like, do you want to have dinner? And I'm like, oh man. I was like, I didn't realize how much time that had flown by. Because for me, what I would do is I would turn on my music, have my headphones on, and just keep drawing away at my sketchbook, and like filling one page up and then going to the next and going to the next. And then if I got bored with the music, I would like watch a movie and then keep drawing. So drawing is definitely not just something that I do because I love, but it's just kind of something that is part of my life that I enjoy doing. Like, and I'll keep drawing no matter what. Like, I mean, I'll keep drawing till I can, obviously, and hopefully nothing ever comes about where I can't draw no more, which would really suck. But you always got to continue doing what you love, and I think that's the most important thing. I think when it comes to anything that you do in life, if you're doing something that you really enjoy doing, nobody will ever have to force you to do it. I mean, it'll just come second nature to you, and that's how I see my art, and just trying to get better with each and every day. So to all the people that are watching up until this point, I thank you for staying over here. And a special thank you to all my followers that are on the channel. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section, and which video you liked, which one was more fun for you. So far, I've been looking at the analytics, and the ghost one seems to be really going out there, or at least the algorithm keeps promoting it. So I guess gonna have to pay attention to that and see how the other videos perform as this series progresses. I think when it comes to the all three movies combined, whether it be the older version, the one with Tim Curry, and then the newer ones where it is what is it called? The chapter 1 and chapter 2. I'm kind of curious as to the people watching and all of the It fanatics. What do you guys think of the movie? Did you all like the older version, which had, the obvious storyline, and then they kind of just merged and made the entire movie one, where they show them where they come back when they're older? And in the newer one, chapter 1, they kind of show the first part of the movie, and then they kind of have the follow-up, which is the part 2, or the It chapter 2, as the second version. So I'm kind of curious, what do you guys thought about that? And I think personally, having a second sequel to any movie is nice, so it kind of makes for two movies. And I don't know, maybe the first one, they kind of ran out of their budget, so they kind of had to cram the first and the second part into one movie. But the props that they have in the movies of chapter 1 and 2, I think, were really cruel. And no, did I say cruel? What I meant to say was cool. And I think the prosthetics and all the special effects is just very mind blowing, in the aspect of what do you call it? The amount of time that it actually takes to put all of this together, to actually make the movie, to have all this stuff all synced up and everything working in sync to make all of it all come together. I think that all that movie magic that's what I'm trying to say, is so cool to watch these movies. For us, the audience and the people that watch the movies, you're like, oh man, the movie was only 3 hours, but that 3 hours, what is on the actual movie, or actually what the film time is amazing to think how many hundreds and hundreds of hours went into actually making these movies. On the same line of these movies, another movie that comes to mind when I think about all this fun Hollywood stuff is the movie The Thing, which, man, that's one creepy, twisted movie. So for anybody that's watching out there doesn't know what the movie is, pretty much the gist of the movie is they have these scientists and researchers working up in some sort of lab in Antarctica, and they happen to go looking in the ice-capped mountains, and supposedly there was some sort of an alien species that had crashed over there, I think, if I'm remembering this right. And as usual, they go ahead and extract it, and then kind of end up bringing it back to the lab. And then what ends up happening is the creature kind of thaws out and then comes to life. But the cool part is of the movie, or the twist of the movie, is this creature has the ability to duplicate itself and kind of merge in with the human genetics. And what's cool is they have to literally do like a blood test or a blood sample to know which person is actually a person, and then which person is actually part of this alien species. And it's just kind of really twisted if you think about it. And especially who may have been the writer that actually wrote out the storyline. Think about it. Who would have ever thought that there's a killer clown that lives in the sewer and then comes after children and then wakes up every 23 years to feed. you know, it's amazing how all of these movies, when they're made, and the amount of hard work and effort that goes into making them, it's always something that has always amazed me. And I think that's why I think I like watching horror movies and action movies, and just kind of like trying to, I don't know if the correct word is dissect, or try to understand what was the thought process between the writer and the director when they were actually thinking about these movies. And another one of my favorite movies of all times is Terminator 2, which is the AI. And now that you think about it, and when you look around in the world, I can't even speak today again. It's amazing how much AI is taking over, and somehow I think those movies, or at least the movie Terminator, was kind of like a warning sign from, I think, what is it, James Cameron, so many years back, that that the AI is going to be coming and becoming part of our lives. I guess nobody wanted to admit it back then, but now I guess it's, when you have Chat GPT and you have so many of these AI platforms that can pretty much do just about anything. It's amazing to see how things evolve and how much changes over time. This movie It, I mean, if you think about it, is the older movie had not any special effects or anything per se. I mean, there were some scenes, but then when you think about It Chapter 1 and It Chapter 2, I mean, there's so many special effects that go into it. It's amazing to see how things, as I said, evolve. And I'm just kind of curious to see what kind of horror movies are going to come out back, or not back, but in the years ahead. And what kind of horror movies will be out in 2030 and 2040. I mean, will there be something as cool as when you go to a movie theater, you might actually be able to be in the movie, kind of. I don't know if that makes any sense, but there was this one time my kids and I, and the whole family obviously, had gone to Legoland, and there was this ride that we kind of went on, which it was, the kind of like the ones where you sit down and the chair kind of moves along with what's going on the screen. And there was this one part in the ride where there was this waterfall, and out of nowhere there were these mist and feeling of sprinklers in the room. And I turned to my daughter and I was like, "Did you feel water on you?" And she was like, "Yeah, Dad, I did." And I was like, "Okay, I know I'm not going crazy," but it's just amazing to think how the level of entertainment that is out there. I mean, you have your usual entertainment where you go bowling, and then you have your movie entertainment, which is horror movies, and then you have the funny movies, and you have the comic movies, and you have the drama movies, and so on and so forth. But I have no idea why I'm talking to you guys about all this when I'm drawing the clown. But it's all in the realm of movie magic, and talking about how things come together, so. But yeah, drawing Mr. Pennywise is coming along, and it's amazing how long this video actually takes, or took me while I was recording it, because the Frankenstein one took also about 30 minutes and some change, and this one is also looking like it's going to be like 30 minutes or a little over 30 minutes. But I was actually trying my best to keep all the videos within the 20 to 30 minute mark, so I guess for the other videos I'm gonna have to maybe dial down the intensity of, or the detail of the character, and kind of make it more simplified, so that way the video doesn't end up being 30 plus minutes long. But if you guys like this video at this length, I mean, or this time, let me know, because that really helps me understand what is it you guys enjoy, and what is it you guys might enjoy drawing along, or if there's something else that you would like me to draw. As I said, now this one is something, or this playlist is something that I've been thinking of for a while, which I probably set it up for the 100th time now again in this video. But I'm kind of thinking of what would be my next playlist. There are so many things I can think of right at the top of my head right now. I could possibly do different kind of, let's see, BMX cycles. I don't know, just a thought. But all in all, yeah, this one has really been a fun one. And drawing the clown, Pennywise, because, there's so much storytelling to this guy. Alrighty, people, let's go ahead and wrap this video up. I hope you all enjoyed following along. And to any people that were new to the channel or are new and have followed along, thank you to you guys as well. And I will see y'all in the next video. Take care. Bye for now.